Hey, we're getting ready to jump into step 2 or part 2 of my $1 million sales process. If you haven't seen part 1, jump to that first. It's in the description.
Look, insurance sucks. I'll just make it suck less.
Hey, you know the drill, guys. My name is Brad Hannon, and we created this channel specifically for health insurance agents, hopefully like yourself and myself, to polish their skills, make more sales, and ultimately make more money. Listen, if any of those things have happened to you through this channel, let me know in the comments. Shoot me a quick message, or really subscribe to the channel. We're really close to pushing that 1,000 subscribers, and that's pretty exciting because, heck, we started this thinking for a few hundred, planning for a few hundred and just having fun. So today we're jumping into probably one of the most important things, and that is the presentation, right? You've spent all this time, maybe even money, generating a lead, running quotes even, and now you've gotten them to show up to an appointment, which is literally half the battle. The other half of the battle is going to be done right here in your presentation, okay? The way that I've built out my presentation from start to finish is to be able to handle objections before they come up. It's to get the client thinking in the right way as to what health insurance is for. It's to eliminate those questions, those pesky questions that derail you in your process. We've used this same process for 7 years now almost, and it's changed slightly. And obviously it changes when you're talking about different plans and how you've designed the plan. But for the most part, it's remained pretty well intact and pretty tried and true. So part 2 or phase 2 or whatever, the second part of the presentation, I'm always covering accidents, right? In step 1, where we talked about day-to-day, I went through that with you. On the intro, right, when I'm getting ready to go into the presentation, hey, Eric, this is Brad. We had this time to go over the health insurance options. Is this still a good time? It is. Great. Awesome. How's your day going? Perfect. Small talk. You're building rapport. And when you get in the presentation, it's very simple. Listen, what we're going to talk about today, Eric, is the 3 main things, really the only 3 things that you need health insurance for, okay? So it doesn't matter if we're talking about your plan, the plan that I built for you, or one of the other plans that may be out there. There's 3 main things that you're looking for, right? The first is day-to-day. We talked about that in the last video. The second is accidents, right? Because accidents happen. So we want to protect you from your most likely scenario. And hey, you're healthy. Most likely scenario is more than likely going to be an accident. So we want to talk about that. And then we want to talk about your most devastating scenario, or potentially most devastating scenario, which would be a catastrophic major medical claim. So we'll talk about that last. But right now I want to talk to you about accidents, right? You had mentioned that you like to run, walk, hike, bike, whatever the case is. Try to pull something from everyday life. And if you don't know that about them, ask them. It's a great time to jump in there. If they have kids, great time to jump in there with questions. Hey, I know you've got a couple of young kids. I bet you you've seen them trip and fall, or wreck on their bike, or I bet you've put a few Band-Aids on here and there, right? Like you're just, again, being able to create some small talk. The other thing this section of the presentation does is allows you to bundle properly, right? It doesn't matter whether you're selling ACA, indemnity, short-term medical, whatever product you're selling, we should be bundling in an accident plan, right? My bare minimum is health insurance, right? Your base plan, whether that be short-term medical, whether that be, ACA, whatever your base plan is, an accident and a critical illness plan, right? We add dental and vision, you're at 5 policies for every sale you're making. That's going to add up over time. So every plan that we sell, we try to sell with accident and critical illness at the very, very, very least. And so most times, right, or 90% of the time, we're going to talk about accidents or that accident supplement in the accident section, right? That's what it's designed for. So if you don't bundle accident, let's say you're selling an ACA policy, okay, and you don't, you're at the top of their budget, and hey, even if you're at the top of their budget, I would build in the accident, at least for the quote, right? For that portion of it, and then talk through the value of it. If you didn't bundle accidents, right, this is a great time to potentially upsell, right? So it depends on your level of comfort, but imagine you're presenting a plan to somebody and it's got a $5,000 deductible, and you get into this little section right here, and you talking about, in the event of an accident, Eric, on this plan, you're going to pay the first $5,000. Whatever's over that $5,000, the insurance company is going to pay the rest. you're good to go, right? It's going to be a very, very short conversation because you didn't bundle an accident. So it's a great opportunity for you to upsell. Hey, Eric, on this plan, we didn't really bundle any accident protection and we were at kind of the top of your budget, but I would typically recommend that because what happens on this plan, the way that we've built it today, is that if you have an accident, right? And let's just say that accident is $6,000, your deductible's $5,000. You're going to pay $5,000 of the $6,000. Right? If we just put in a $10, $15 accident plan, we're going to reduce that liability to $250 for you. And so in the same situation with $6,000 in accident bills, bills due to an accident, you're going to pay $250. You're going to get a lump sum benefit to help you cover the deductible. And therefore you're only out of pocket $250, right? Anybody that says no to that is probably crazy, right? Accident plans are super cheap. It's a non-negotiable usually for me, at least on the quoting phase. If you're in this section, and this is the shortest section of the whole presentation, right? Because you're really just utilizing it to highlight that accident scenario and poke a couple of or point out a couple of the holes that are in traditional plans. If somebody has an ACA plan on the marketplace with no supplement, and the average deductible in the marketplace is probably north of $7,000. They have a $5,000 accident. It's a big gap, right? You're going to pay your premiums all year. You're going to pay that $5,000 accident. It's not even going to get you to your $7,000 deductible. What did you have insurance for, right? You've got a very unhappy client at that point in time. And so we love to, be able to upsell with this. We love to be able to highlight the accident plan, but ultimately it is going to be a very short it's going to be a very short section, and it's a perfect way to, and here's a perfect way to transition into the section we'll be talking about next, which is that catastrophic major medical claim. I said it in the beginning, we want to talk to you. We want to cover you. So that's how the plan, like you're going through accidents at the end of it. So that's how your accident would be covered, or an accident would be covered on this plan. Because again, like we said, we like to talk about the most likely scenario on this plan. And then secondly, and most importantly, the most devastating, or the potentially most devastating, which would be a catastrophic major medical claim. So on this plan, if you were happy, and so perfect little smooth transition into that second part. The bulk of your time, okay, unfortunately, will be made up in the day-to-day. And this is a 15, 20-minute presentation, guys. This is not long, drawn out. This is an intro, building some rapport, kicking it back and forth, having conversation. How's your day? A mentor of mine told me a long time ago, and you've probably heard this before. If not, then I need to say it more often because it's very, very valuable. It's always been in the back of my mind. The most important thing to talk about when you are selling health insurance is anything but the health insurance, right? Now, naturally, we would have to talk about the health insurance that we're selling, right? You can't just talk about butterflies and rainbows and then say, all right, you ready to enroll? But we want to talk to our clients about how the plan works, not necessarily go through a detailed summary of benefits with every single bullet point. Like you're just going to wear somebody out with that. So bulk of your time made up in the day-to-day because you're going to look up doctors. That's what your clients more than likely care the most about. Accidents, great time to bundle in the accident plan. I like to say, have you ever heard of AFLAC? Similar to an AFLAC benefit, talking about the accident supplement. And then lastly, that major medical catastrophic situation, which we'll talk about in the next video.
I'm a health insurance hustler. Bradley Hannon's the name. I'm here to teach these agents how to play the game. I'm a health insurance